And look at Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete. The two of them go flying through the right-hand side, then the left-hand side. Jochen Hahn around the outside, and Lucas Hahn, no father and son, come together on the exit turn one.
And the best thing about this is the fact that it's still a 15-minute sprint race. They've not extended the time of the race. It's still just like, it's going to be, 7 laps of
Yeah. We get to the real nitty-gritty of motorsport.
Cranstone and Smith are side by side for the title in the very final race of the season. So as they go back up the hill towards the Schumacher. Nils Core clips the back at 10. Simon Povey clips the side of Nils Core. They go over the hill and Povey's around.
Oh my god, that's going to definitely be the thumbnail, and it hit me in the right direction. Thank you so much.
23 cars.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Chaz Draycott Media. Welcome to another race meeting here in the Evolution Sim Racing GT3 Championship here in its 7th season. Chaz Draycott and Ed May here in the commentary box to take you through the action in Split A. There are 2 splits in this championship. Split B is covered by the wonderful Joe Glass and Dara Thacker. They're going to be over on the Evolution Sim Racing YouTube channel doing their broadcast for the B split, which contains the Premier and Evo classes. Tonight we have the Elite and the Pro classes here in the A split, and it is a mighty, mighty difficult circuit to go racing at in GT3 cars tonight. Here at Circuit of the Americas, something that on this side of the pond anyway, Ed, we would describe as a Marmite circuit, isn't it, this place? It can be quite exciting in some cars, but very fiddly in others.
Yes, thank you very much, Chaz. It's great to be here at Circuit of the Americas. Like you say, it's a circuit that some drivers love, others loathe. For me, it's one where at least the first sector feels very nice. It sort of pays almost homage to the Maggots Spec. It's those sweeping S's that link from one into the next. And then sort of after that back straight, it's all just horrible. That's the only word I can really describe it that's broadcastable at the very least. But hopefully we'll have some brilliant racing that will be right at the top of any broadcast here on Chaz Draycott Media.
Absolutely. A big shout out must go to the sponsors of this championship, Kame, GP2 Group and Keenan Eco Energy. Thank you very much to each of you for your support of this wonderful, wonderful series. And we're going to have a quick look at the current state of affairs when it comes to the Drivers' Championship as soon as Chaz figures his overlay out. There we go. Right now, it is Fraser Smith that is top of the pile in the Conehead Racing Machine in the Porsche. He's taken a host of victories. No podiums in the previous round, but he still had a very, very good run at Long Beach in rounds 8 and 9. Yanis Albert in second place. He's had 4 podium finishes so far this season. He's ahead of Tristan Dinabrega, his teammate. Also, another teammate of theirs, Luke Lucchese. He is 4th in the championship ahead of Luke Van Gortel. Luke took the race victory in the previous round of the series. An amazing, amazing effort at... Actually, sorry, it was Sebring last time. It was Long Beach before that. I do apologise. Sebring flew by that quickly. I forgot, but what a race that was. He had an incredible finish, actually, did Luke Van Gortel, with the driver just below him on the graphic there, Will Soper, who had a pretty solid run recently. 1 win and then a second place. Kevin Pone, unfortunately, not in the series anymore. It's a shame to see, but Kevin has retired from the championship. He's still 6th in the championship after a great run of points early on. Following him is Ryan Ottens, Will Soper, Jean Breitenbach, Luke King, Matteo Carbonari, and then Thomas Pugh in the Lamborghini, who we've not seen too much of in recent times. But Ed, why don't you take it away, my friend, with the GT3 Pro standings?
Yes, thank you very much, Chaz. And it is Chris Jennings who continues to lead the way. We only had a lackluster showing last time out. He still maintains a healthy 33-point gap over Alex Fretwell, who in those wet conditions was still not able to get to grips with the McLaren. That car does not like it in the wet. Bobby Trundley came through with a brilliant performance to win at Sebring, which sees him just 25 points shy of second place. Jack Wyborn himself only 15 points away from the top three, with a just outside the podium result last time around. Victor Van Zijs was on the podium and he's in fifth, ahead of Lawrence Delapper. DNF did not score points, looking to try and get some more tonight to get a championship charge back on track. Laurent van der Water, they're in seventh place, ahead of Matt Hoyland. Strong points from Matt, trying to revive his hopes for this season. Jason Hodgson in ninth, ahead of Stephen Donnelly, who rounds out the top 10. We've got Martin Kenyon and Alexander Drabe. Now, I think we're going to be calling it Draby.
I was thinking Draby. It's more of a Flemish sound, but in the graphics and everything we were given, it was DR''LBY. Which is how you still may see it on the broadcast. But yeah, we'll have Draby for Alexander, the Danish driver. Just a quick look at the Teams Championship. You can see Quartermass and RDSA still very, very close in their points. They've got RLH and Axis behind them, and then Suma GP2 Porsche next up. The DXT teams follow on from that as well in 6th and 7th, ahead of STL, Conehead Racing with just 2 cars in 9th, and then is the LS Racing squad with those very shiny blue Porsches and the Lamborghini. But we need to go back to live pictures and we need to have a look at the circuit itself, because qualifying is underway just now, Ed, and we have the drivers out on circuit for the first time. Gilles-Philippe Arts has now changed to the DDK Racing team colours for this round onwards, as they have parted with the Eagle brand. So the DDK cars now back in similar colours to what we saw the DXT Emerald cars in before, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, it is a very similar livery to what we saw those DDK drivers running. It does go very nice. Don't see too many lime green machines, sort of bright green at least. Not so keen on the wheels though, Chaz. They're not quite matching up, are they, with the rest of the paint scheme? That's more of like a limey, sort of slimy green, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit. Apologies if you hear any Discord sounds, everybody. It appears that streamer mode has turned itself off for me here on Discord, so I've just had a few notifications come through. I'll just turn that off. But yeah, lovely to see the Corvette still being represented, though. It's good to see the Lambo represented as well. Martin Kenyon here behind the wheel of the DXT Solar car. Going up through the gears. Careful around here as well in the Lambo, because you know what it's like. A pig. We've got to be so careful this way and that way. And a lot of these guys, you know, they have the cars quite close to the edge in terms of, you know, weight transfer limits and sort of how much they throw them in. So you will see a lot of them in a lot of these sectors using very minimal steering lock, won't you?
Yeah, again, it's just about trying to manage and, like I say, balance the cars. The Lamborghini especially, like you mentioned, a car that you can't really put a lot of steering lock on, whereas something maybe like the Ford, which is a bit more understeery, the Mercedes, the BMW, which sadly we don't have out in force tonight. No BMWs, no Audis either. I think if there are any other manufacturers we are missing, no Ferraris either.
No Ferrari, no. Wow. So, yeah, I think we've got 7 of the 10 manufacturers, because... Just looking, actually, do we have any Audis? No Audis.
No, yeah, like I mentioned, no Audis whatsoever.
No.
Shame.
That is a shame.
We missed them last time as well.
Yeah, sorry. I thought you'd said there was an Audi. I apologise. No, there is no Audi. Yeah, you're right. Wow. Yeah, it's quite crazy, that. That's a shame. It's good to see a Mercedes or two, as ever. We like the Mercedes here at Chaz Draycott Media. Everybody loving Fraser at the moment. But this is Alexander Draby, the LS Racing driver. It's not often we've seen his Mercedes actually out there on circuit. It's nice to see it once again. It's a gorgeous, shiny blue machine. Doesn't do wonders for the visibility of the stickers on the car, but that's their issue, not ours. Bobby Trundley, speaking of visibility, his car goes fastest. Currently fastest in the Pro class. He gets overtaken now by Ryan Ottens in the Alpha 1 Esports Corvette. Yanis Albergo's second quickest in the Acura, the NSX. Chris Verstappen, one of the many drivers here tonight, Ed, hoping to spread the freedom with the Mustang here at Circuit of the Americas. It doesn't get much more American than this, does it?
No, it doesn't. We will see how Chris Verstappen can do at the Blue Oval's home race. Obviously, Ford having recently announced as well their intention to bring a hypercar platform.
Oh, how exciting is that?
In the future. You can have Ford versus Ferrari at the top level of endurance motor racing in, what is it? I think they're planning it for, is it 2027, I think?
I thought, yeah, I thought 26, but maybe I'm thinking of the, who was the other one that announced it recently? Was it Genesis?
Aston Martin have announced.
Yes.
Genesis as well.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, it was the Aston Martin announcement, but yeah, I tell you what, the fact that we're going to have Ford in the top flight of Le Mans racing again for the first time since the GT40 is just going to be unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Hello to Aidan Millward, by the way, in the YouTube chat. Good to see you here tonight, mate. He says the Merc is giving Pertec Ford Focus vibes. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I remember that livery.
Andrew Jordan, yes.
Yeah, Andrew Jordan's car. I used to run that. I remember they had it just as a standard blue one year, and then the next year they brought it, and it was completely chrome. And I was at Brands Hatch for the season finale when that car came out, and Jesus, it was stupidly bright. Incredible looking thing. I quite like this livery though. You know, every time we broadcast this car, Ed, it grows on me more and more. The lovely MJK Sim Racing Porsches with this sort of hexagonal net pattern all over them. Slight metallic bit on them as well. Looks really, really cool. Didn't Ford have a Group C machine? I don't know if they just made the engines for one. Not sure. I would have thought.
I think they may have had a Group C platform, but I don't think it was sort of one of the more notable ones from memory. I think it was sort of a short-lived program, if anything.
Here's the NSX of Paul Cowlishaw across the line. 11th in class, 14th overall. Alex Fretwell's gone quickest in class in the only McLaren in the field. Again, Alex doing such a good job at representing this McLaren this season. He's got the IMSA tyres on it, the Michelins. Oh, apparently the Ford C100. Aiden's always good with this sort of stuff, though. They did, and you know what annoys me is I've seen that in person at Goodwood. I've seen that in person. Yeah, that is... I didn't realise the yellow and black one was a Ford, though. I've seen that livery before. Ran at Le Mans in '82. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shut up, and we're going to continue on with this. John Breitenbach, he's not chosen anywhere to hide just yet, Ed, but I'm expecting him to find a brilliant spot around here at COTA, because there's a lot of places to be, isn't there?
Yeah, there are. There's certainly a lot of off-circuit furniture everywhere at COTA. So we'll see at the end of at least Jean Breitenbach's qualifying session where he decides to scurry off to. But for now, we will be on board with him and have a clear view of attacking these long, subsequent sweeping rights and lefts, and another right there, just trying to stick over to that right-hand side to really open up the left that comes sooner than you think. Again, the camber doesn't really help you through those corners. It always feels a little bit unhappy with everything you're doing, and it's why in the races, especially in the first lap, cold tyres, it's going to catch a lot of drivers out. I think actually, Chaz, last time we broadcasted here for the Evolution Sim Racing GT3 Championship, we did notice actually a few drivers fall foul, didn't they, on the cold tyres on the opening few laps. But with the track temperatures being as hot as they are, I can't imagine tyre warm-up being an issue.
No, I don't think so. Ed rightly mentions the track being rather toasty. 49 degrees Celsius. It's only 18 degrees air temperature, but it's bathed in sunlight at the moment. And let's not forget, we're in the middle of Texas, for crying out loud. So there is not a cloud in the sky, from what I know. Look at that. Typically American weather up there in the atmosphere. 3 million HPA. That's incredible air pressure, as we have often mentioned. But static weather here for these sessions here on the Evolution Sim Racing GT3 Championship. This is Jack Wyborn in the MRC 495 Porsche. Jack has had a bit of an inconsistent run of it recently, but we spoke to him not too long ago, and he was quite a happy boy then. But look at the weight transfer here of these cars. The Porsche did seem like the stable car around here last season, or, well, actually, no, sorry, 2 seasons ago when we last broadcasted here. It only feels like last week. But it definitely seems to be the stable car here again tonight, as well as John Breitenbach's put in a purple sector or two on that lap, and he goes 10th.
Good effort from Jean there. He's got, I think, enough time for one more go around. The drivers get 4 laps in the 15-minute qualifying session. So we'll see what he can muster right at the end. We're on board with Fraser Smith. He was currently the fastest of, well, the entirety of the field. The biggest margin, though, does he over Ryan Otton's in behind, just a tenth of a second. Great to have that variety. Back up at the front again after the Porsche domination at Sebring. Obviously, the wet weather really favouring Porsche. Now, though, with dry running, it becomes a lot more sort of evenly balanced. Ryan Otton's there in the Corvette, showing what he can do. And then we've got the 2 NSXs, Yanis Alvarega in the top 5 as well. And follow Ryan Otton's actually as he comes through to into this horrible final sector. You can just see it feels so sort of disjointed, doesn't it? Difficult to pick a breaking point.
Horrid bit of a racetrack. I will make it clear this evening how much I dislike this racing circuit, but there's some great parts to it, and we've had both of us have commentated on incredible races around here before. That's the thing. It can be one that really catches you out. I mean, look at places like Paul Ricard. If you lap Paul Ricard, oh my god, it's so boring. And what a boring place to look at, but you know, I've been lucky enough to go out there and be there in person. And it's, Lucchese goes fastest, and Fairley goes second. 77 thousandths between the top 3 now, wow. But I was going to say, Paul Ricard, when you go there and it's beautiful weather, oh, what an insanely pretty place. Just the area around it near Nice, it's absolutely immaculate. All the facilities are brilliant at Paul Ricard as well. Great circuit like that. But the bit that lets the circuit down is the circuit. It's just, I think hot lapping it on your own, no. But some of the best racing I've ever commentated on, ever. You know, Clio Cup was there with like 50 odd cars to support the French Grand Prix, and it was just amazing fun.
I'm trying to think of like what the most complete circuit is in terms of location, in terms of the circuit as well. And I've got to say, it's probably the A1 or the Red Bull Ring. I've got to say that is.
Yeah. Red Bull Ring is beautiful. The facilities are incredible. It's easily located, so it's easy to get to. Yeah. And as a racing circuit, it's great as well because it's only got like, 9 corners or something, and it's so good for racing as well as the Red Bull Ring. It looks like I may be going there in September this year, so I am over the moon because, as I say to everybody, it is my favourite racing circuit in the world. It's just so beautiful, and we'll have to
say as well, though,
see.
Underappreciated track that I think is probably one of my favourites, Cadwell Park.
Yeah.
Get some supercuts around there. Go race there. That is probably one of the best weekends you'll ever have.
It's a roller coaster with grass either side, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's a shame about that sort of, I don't know whether they consider it the first or last sector, but it doesn't suit larger cars, does it, like this? I mean, you've got to be very particular about what series goes there, unfortunately. But yeah, it's
if you love 2 wheels.
Oh yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh, bike circuit all day. It is a bike circuit, is Cadwell Park. It really is. Just it wasn't purposely built for bikes, I don't think, but it suits them down to the ground to a point where you could imagine it was. Anyway, Luke Lucchese finds this place to be much wider than Cadwell Park. He puts it on pole. Tristan Dinnebrager has just nipped back to the pit lane in his NSX. And where is Jean Breitenbach today? He's found his way inside the pit wall. That's not his best hiding place, but it's quite a good one. Somebody there with the Aston Martin Aramco overalls, despite not racing in an Aston Martin Formula 1 car. That upsets me immensely. But he is, quite well placed there, actually. It's funny how you can tell when people in their liveries on iRacing add a little bit more detail in, because the green tent there and the red sort of bits, the like the little boxes and things and the air guns and so on, that is literally just 2 tiny little squares on the livery when you're editing it, and as standard they are all red and green. You can see the ones that are all just red and green. That's when people haven't edited the colours on them, It's quite cool when people paint the little markers above the pit boxes there, isn't it? I quite like that.
Oh yeah, you can just see them actually, can't you? For
The Quartermass one as well.
Yeah, the Quartermass. That's a lovely little touch, isn't it? Actually, you can see who's 146. It's got
It's the ADX colours, isn't it?
AX colours. Yeah, that's Andrew Fairley.
Yeah, there's Viraco further down as well. I think some of them, it's interesting attention to detail, but some of them don't always realise that the numbers can be changed on those as well. You can see the number 88 in a different colour and font and so on. Sometimes people wonder, why do you get the option to change the numbers on iRacing cars, that have preset numbers like the GT3s?
Yeah.
That is why. Stuff like that. And I love that attention to detail. It's really, really good. I can't say that I always do that on my liveries, unfortunately, but it is something that I mean to do more often. But then again, Spontex colours are just white, so doesn't really add much to it. Anyway, let's have a look at a grid, shall we? Because this is the grid for round 7, well, the first race of round 7 in the Evolution Sim Racing GT3 Championships 7th season. Luke Lucchese will start on pole position, with Andrew Fairley alongside him. Long live the Mustang. Fraser Smith, championship leader in 3rd, doesn't need to put himself under much pressure this evening. He's got Ryan Ottens in 4th place just behind him. Then it's Yanis Albert and Tristan Dinabrega. Luke King and Will Soper start together on the 4th row, with Kevin Daniels and Robert Backer completing the top 10. Good to see Robert going well, actually. That's a big improvement on his pace. Daniel Lee is in 11th place with Alex Fretwell, the lead driver in the Pro class. He's got Jean Breitenbach and Bobby Trundley just behind. Bobby 2nd in Pro. Chris Jennings is 3rd in Pro, 15th overall, ahead of Thomas Pugh's Lamborghini. Then it's Luke Van Gortel and his countryman Kaz Brinkhausen on the 9th row. Paul Cowlishaw and Gilles Philipparts are rounding out the top 20, ahead of Jason Hodgson in one of his many home races this season. Matt Hoyland is 22nd. Chris Versteinen 23rd, ahead of Dean Powell, with Eric Verlet 25th. Jack Wyborn 26th, Martin Kenyon 27th, Malcolm Coates 28th, Victor Van Zeist and Marcel Breitenbach, with Alexander Drabi completing the field. And to be fair, Ed, with such a long lap here and such an incredible amount of talent at the sharp end of the order, we have the top 26 cars separated by less than 2 seconds. I'd say that's quite impressive.
Yeah, definitely. It's really competitive here in the A split, but also in the B split. So there's plenty of action here, isn't it? It just shows as well, though, how brilliant this championship is, where everyone's queuing to get in, that we have these huge grids split over 2 different sort of, well, splits, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. That's what we love about this. It's amazing turnout for the championship and for all the drivers. It's great to see that there's so many of them, not just in this race, but in the other ones as well. Don't forget, there is another broadcast. If you want to watch this one and then watch another one afterwards, there is the Split B broadcast over on the Evolution Sim Racing channel over on YouTube. Joe Glass and Dara Thacker take you through the action there, doing a wonderful job. But we have the Elite class and the Pro class here on Chaz Draycott Media. We've got Jean Breitenbach here. He's got a little bit of pressure because he's got the lead 3 drivers in Pro just behind him, and he won't want to get in the way of that battle, will he, Ed? There's a little bit of, I don't know, extra pressure to keep it clean, I suppose, because you don't want to ruin their fight.
Yeah, I mean, they'll hope to have a good start so he can get through and get away from all of the drama that doesn't obviously involve himself. In an ideal world, he'll get the jump on Alex Fretwell and disappear off. But, worst comes to worst, he's going to have to really think about how he battles and where he chooses his moment. Because, of course, the drivers, they're not forbidden from racing with one another. There's nothing in the rules that says you're not allowed to race with drivers around you, even if they're in a different class. It's just about perspective in terms of what you would gain and what you might lose if something goes awry.
Absolutely. You have to think about the bigger picture, even in these half-hour races compared to the 1-hour races. Now look at Fraser Smith there on the orange Porsche on the 2nd row. Pardon me indeed. He is staying nice and close and consistent to the back of Luke Lucchese. Great to see Luke back on form, back on pole position, and the first race of the night here at Circuit of the Americas in the Evolution Sim Racing GT3 Championship gets... Wait for it. Wait for it. Underway. Luke Lucchese leaves it a while, gets a great jump on Fraser Smith. Andrew Fairley comes over to the inside line to try and block it off, and they go 4 wide, and down the inside goes one of the RDSA NSXs. That's Yanis Albert trying it on Fraser Smith. They're 3 wide as they head down towards turn 2. Oh, they're rubbing panels all the way down there. That's Ryan Otton's going through on the inside now of Fraser. God, he's right in the thick of it straight off the bat here. Ed side by side in front. He's just going to filter back in behind Ryan Otton's. I think everybody behind as well, keeping it nice and tidy for the opening few corners. Great start.
Brilliant from Ryan Otton's there. Fraser Smith just loses out, but we know that he's got some great pace to fight back through up the order. He just has to be patient and get through these opening few corners. As who's that getting sent wide? That's Gilles Philippart and Matt Hoyland. He's had a great start to things up. Is it going to be a 4th position here? He gets a little bit of a snap on the exit. The DXT Solar Car does end up finding that position. Sean Brayton back. He's had a really torrid time of things. We were singling him out, weren't we, Chaz, to not get involved in the action around him, but unfortunately he's now down into 20th overall, 16th in class.
Yeah, 7 places gained already for Jean Breitenbach in this opening lap, but Luke Lucchese leads the field in his Porsche. It's been a while since we've said Luke Lucchese's led the race. He's a multiple champion of this series, but it's great to see him back on form again. Andrew Fairley going well as well. He had a fantastic run of pace at Road America earlier on in the season. Seems like the Mustang does well at places with the word America in the name as well. It's almost like it's drawn to them. But Porsche, Ford and, of course, the Chevy in the top 3. Yanis Albert is right behind Fraser Smith now as Kevin Daniels runs wide. There's a battle behind him between Bobby Trudley and Luke Van Gortel. Let's not forget Luke Van Gortel, race winner at Sebring. Little bit of contact between the two. Needs to be careful there. Jack Wyborn has had a drama, I'm afraid, further down the order, Ed. Let's have a look. Oh, he's already had some sort of drama. Oh, it's gone. Oh, that's not... Oh, yeah, that's not tasty, is it?
No, that's certainly not optimal, shall we say. Go back to Robert Backer. Up 3 places now into 7th. Again, we love this sim racing team Lowlands livery, don't we, Chaz? That lovely, subtle livery that really just pops at you, doesn't it? With that sort of like chromatic, prismatic paint finish.
I still don't know how they've done it. We say it every week, and I still don't know how they've done it.
Boggles the mind, but honestly, it's really nice as well. Sort of the almost. It's not quite a proper chrome either on the front, is it? It's a nice sort of satin.
Yeah, it's like a satin
It's
metallic.
nice and shiny, a lovely little metallic tint to it. It's done a really good job with sort of, not very busy livery, but using the split maps absolutely perfectly. Christopher Steinen is, well, in the thick of it. He's got Paul Cowlishaw. This is a class position in behind, but we saw him just squabbling earlier with Malcolm Coates. Now, that is not necessarily for class position. Now he's got cars on his outside, cars on his inside. Which way do you look? Try and focus on the exit, which he does. Gets through that relatively clearly, as that was actually Eric Valet on the inside. He's got through unscathed. Further back, this is Marcel Breitenbach battling with Jason Hodgson. Marcel in the Corvette. Going up the inside of the Porsche, hard onto the brakes. Should be able to get the move done, but actually,
wow,
quite get on the brakes hard enough. And Jason Hodgson, brave as ever, holds on around the outside.
Nice, clean, respectful stuff that between the guys. Got a little bit of a battle going on here between the American triangular thing and then the other American triangular thing as well. Paul Cowlishaw and Malcolm Coates. Cowlishaw in the elite class, Coates in the pro class, so they don't really want to fight with each other, to be honest. But looking at the pro leader, Alex Fretwell, he has a 2.5 over Bobby Trundley. Bobby's in that dark blue and lime green and cyan and all sorts of colours Porsche in the background. It was great to speak to Bobby after the round at Sebring last time out. Oh, Marcel Breitenbach's had a drama. He's come to a stop. Is he just going to lose it through the left-hander here? We've seen many drivers do it before. Yep. As soon as you come off the brakes there, I don't know what it is about that corner, but there's some sort of curse there. Watch how easy this is. It'll be on the downshift. Oh no, not even that.
So as he gets off the curb, I think, on the right-hand side, that sort of back right wheel, the suspension, I guess, just, I don't know if it bottoms out or what, but it doesn't seem to be playing ball, and that's what sends him around into a spin. Isn't that exactly where we saw some drivers in Formula 1 have some issues? I seem to remember George Russell ended up going backwards into the barrier.
Yeah, well, Lewis Hamilton himself,
Lewis Hamilton
just
as well, yeah.
dropped it in the race, didn't he? Like right near the start of
Yeah.
the race. It's certainly a problem corner on the circuit if it even catches out the likes of Lewis. Sorry, Sir Lewis. Kaz Brinkhausen all over the back of Bobby Trundley, but this isn't a fight that he's going to want, Ed. He's done purple sector 1 actually, but it's not a fight that he wants because it's a car that isn't for any points in front of him. But if he gets in front of Bobby, he doubles the amount of cars between Bobby and Alex for the Pro Class lead. So he's in a bit of oh, never mind. I was going to say he's in a bit of a moral dilemma. He was just simply very late on the brakes there, was Kaz Brinkhausen. Hopefully doesn't cause any further issues. That was very, very lively. As right now, Chris Jennings is having a go here at Matt Hoyland. Now this is for class position.
Chris Jennings, I think Sheila Philipp-Hartz was closing in as well in behind, but Sheila unable to make the move stick. And it's so difficult when you're battling sort of across the classes, aren't you? Not in your own classes, because you don't really know if it's worth going for the move, risking contact, and if you're actually going to really see any benefit at all from the overtake regardless. It's just about trying to figure out the bigger picture and decide, is this move going to put me in better stead afterwards, or will it just create an unnecessary risk for no real tangible gains? And I think for Kaz, he has to weigh up if he thinks Bobby's either going to get the better of Kevin and Daniels. If not, then Kaz needs to get a shift on and try and get through.
Yeah, 100%. He needs to just say, look, this is my battle now. You know, if there's no other movement from the other guys, give it a few laps to see. At the end of the day, they've got 2 half-hour races tonight, 2 chances to score points. So if the first race doesn't go that well, then they can take the second race and at least recuperate some, as opposed to having one race in a night where that is your only chance. So, yeah, these guys need to think bigger picture, not just in terms of the championship, but just over the course of one evening, which is never easy to do. But at the moment, we look at Yanis Albert, just behind championship leader Fraser Smith. He's got Ryan Ottens just up the road, then Andrew Fairley and Luke Lucchese. And it's been nice and stable inside the top 5 at the moment. Robert Bakker is the one under pressure, though. In the Mercedes, got Luke King, Will Soprin, then Danny Lee. We've not seen much of Danny so far in this race, but he started 11th on the grid, has made his way up into 10th. Robert Bakker's actually gained 3 spots, so he's had a really good start, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he doesn't want to be backering up the field. If he can help it, needs to try and instead focus on Tristan de Nebrega up the road. It's about 1.2 seconds, the gap from 6th down to 7th. So he's still going to be getting some benefit of the slipstream, just not as much obviously as Luke King, who is right up behind him on board with Danny Lee. Who has a great view of this whole battle as it is shaping up. The different lines as well all the drivers are taking.
Yeah.
You really see sort of them all fighting to figure out what the most optimal line is around this circuit, because Lord knows it's impossible to really find it.
Yeah, there's so many of them. A big shout out as well to Daniel Lee. We do say a lot of very positive things about him on the channel here. We don't want anyone to think we're biased, but it's clear that we're not the only people that think so about Danny, because just last week he hit 100,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. So a massive congratulations to Danny for all the amazing work that he puts into his content. He's a fantastic creator, and it goes to show 100,000 people at least agree as well. So hats off.
Kaz Brinkhausen there as he was just trying again to find a way past Bobby Trundy. I think this is really telling, Chaz, isn't it, of where Kaz thinks his race needs to go, and that is up ahead of Bobby Trundley.
Yeah, he is
A
pushing.
little bit cheeky there from Bobby. I think he saw that Christ was going to get the run around the outside and just sort of, I'm not going to say slammed the door, but eased it shut ahead of him.
He slipped the doorstop out from underneath it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Just to let it go a little bit before he could get his foot in. Thomas Pugh's going to try and headbutt the back of the Porsche. He's looking down the inside, and well, he takes 2 Dutchmen out with 1 move. There's got to be a joke there somewhere. But around they go, and that was just unfortunate, that. Thomas Pugh looks down the inside of Luke Van Gortel, who also looks down the inside of Chris Versteinen. Although I think Chris went really wide into the corner, so I don't know if Luke had much of an option, to be honest. I'd be interested to see that from Luke's view.
look. So Luke Van Gogh is a long way back, and if you're this far back and you still make contact with the car ahead, that doesn't paint a pretty picture.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. I think he made a rod for his own back there, did Luke Van Gortel, and he hasn't. I mean, he's not had much chance to slow down and give the place back. I was about to be a bit harsh there and say he's not giving it back, but at the end of the day, I don't think he owes it to many of the drivers other than Kaz Brinkhausen, but he'd have to give away about 9 places. He's at the front. Oh, well, there you go. He's done it now. Jesus.
Yeah. I don't. That's a horrible spot to be as well, isn't it?
I don't want to laugh, but I mean, that's the weirdest commentator's curse I think I've had in my career.
That is very strange, but karma seems to work in mysterious ways and seems to have at least put Luke Van Gortel behind Kaz Brinkhausen for now, but it's not really what we want to see. Now, this is Dean Powell, Daily Racing, getting a great view and all. Is there contact between, was that Gilles Philipparts and Luke Van Gortel?
Nowhere near him.
Looks like it would maybe in contact after the spin was.
Oh, right, sorry.
So he spins there. Oh, I think is actually great evasion.
Yeah.
From the Corvette. I thought for a moment it was going up ahead, and then there was contact that helped pitch him around. But credit to Gilles, he saw it coming from a long way off, kept himself out of trouble and damage free, which is so important around here. Obviously, in these half-hour races, there's no pit stops to repair any damage. So if you get any sort of bumps and bangs, you have to carry that for the whole race.
You do indeed. We just saw the legendary Danny Lee fake there for just a moment, looking down the inside of Will Soper. Will, of course, finished second at Sebring by the smallest of margins. It was merely 60 thousandths of a second, I believe, that Luke Van Gortel beat him by, but isn't that a contrast of fortunes for Luke Van Gortel now being 19th in class, 30th overall after winning the previous race? I can't remember what the exact phrase was, but there was a phrase years ago in motorsport that I heard in commentary and I thought, yes, that's very true. But it's something about when you've won a race, that doesn't mean that you're always going to be guaranteed to do it again. But the way this person worded it was just so immaculate that I couldn't dream to repeat it. But still, the race continues on. We've got 3 different manufacturers still in the top 3, which is lovely. Ryan Ottens representing the Chevy Corvette very well, as he has done all season, to be fair to him, Ed. I mean, it's great to see that it is represented well through the order, but Ryan has been the standout Corvette, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has been really impressive over the course of the season, as to be said. And we know, obviously, from past experience that this Corvette is certainly no slouch. It might not be the most favoured car, but we have seen drivers really come through strongly on great showings. Just seeing now through his S's, Corvette does seem to do a lot better on these more longer, faster corners rather than in the slow speed. See, obviously, the attitude of Ryan's car compared to Andrew Fairley. Andrew's just sort of, again, just letting it lumber around, just coaxing it through.
Yeah, it does
basically
seem...
when.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, whenever that Mustang sort of has a mindset of how it wants to take a corner, there's not really a whole lot you can do as a driver to really change it. So you need to set the attitude as you're turning in, and then hope that you've got it right. Because if you get it wrong at that point of turning, you're just stuck. There's nothing you can do to counter it.
It's similar to the whole sort of karting approach, isn't it? Like, you throw it in, you put the steering lock in early to get the rotation, and then you manage it through the corner. It's a similar thing with the Mustang. It's just that karts and Mustangs are slightly different in terms of everything. But the Corvette, I said it since day one, even with the noise it makes as well, it looks like an RC car. It looks like it's got this really lightweight, thin plastic body on it over a very flimsy shell, and it looks like it weighs about 5 kilos because it just always looks so light on its feet and so twitchy everywhere. It's a bit floaty on the exited corners as well. It's so strange how a car can look so nimble but so floaty all at the same time. Like, it points in, but then just watch it on the exit, it just never looks like it's quite finished turning. It just carries on rotating, doesn't it? It's really weird.
Yeah, and then you've got other cars. I think the best way you can describe a car like the Porsche is it's a bit like a Scalextric. It just seems on rails all the time.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not sure why it is, because obviously the sort of weight displacement means that it could be prone to snapping and trying to go on you, but every single time you see it come out of a corner, putting the power down, it doesn't really do any four-wheel slides. It just, the traction is there at every opportunity you're asking for. It is basically a Scalextric car.
Yeah, it's just so glued everywhere, isn't it? And this is the thing. I don't know how they've managed to make it so perfect, but you do always say, don't you, that the weight transfer, the way it all is balanced, it shouldn't work. It probably wouldn't work, but Porsche just make it work. I've always said that they need a rear wing on them to make them sort of look finished and to complete the shape. But yeah, I certainly think that the GT3 equivalent of this 992 is just awesome. We're over halfway through the race now. Looking back from race leader Luke Lucchese, Andrew Fairley and Ryan Ottens are second and third. Fraser Smith, championship leader, in fourth place at the moment. Yannis Albert in fifth position outright. It's Alex Fretwell leading the pro class in the McLaren right now. He's got Kevin Daniels providing quite a physical buffer between himself and Bobby Trundley, isn't he, at the moment, Ed? I think he's going to be quite happy to see that he's sat there.
Yeah, Alex Fretwell again is some, like you say, a bit of a rear gunner, although Kevin Daniels is not his teammate. He's not really going to make it easy for him, so while he has that buffer, it could easily become his undoing should Kevin Daniels fancy a little bit of a sniff. But of course, we need to think about the reverse grid, don't we, Chaz?
True, yes.
I think for Kevin Daniels, overtaking Alex Fretwell isn't going to give him any benefit in that scenario.
No, definitely not. At the moment, it'll be Dean Powell in the Mustang on pole, but Chris Verstappen is trying to make it a different Mustang on pole position for that second race. So intrigued to see which one of these guys comes out on top. Dean had a rough few races. To be fair, the Mustangs in general have had a rough few races, haven't they? We saw at Sebring there was only a handful of them that were able to really sort of storm it through the wet weather. And then, I mean, at Long Beach, other than Kaz Brinkhausen being near the front for a lot of it, the Mustangs were nowhere. They really didn't suit that place. Funny that, isn't it, really, when you make the car the size of a cross-channel ferry and it doesn't work on a street circuit?
No, it does seemingly make some people scratch their heads just a touch. It's those big, beefy barges, not still quite accustomed to the coastal beach circuit. There's the King. Oh, he does more than Luke up the inside, doesn't he? He properly stares at it and dives through.
Nice.
Oh, Robert Bakker, lovely move there. Robert, credit to him. Afforded plenty of space on this, didn't try and pinch him off. And it worked wonderfully to make that move as clean as possible, even though Luke did come from quite a way back. He got it stopped on the apex and
He did.
carries on. Nice and clear up ahead.
I've
Well,
just...
on board with... Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, I think I've figured out the whole holographic thing on the side of the car. Now, everyone knows I love iRacing, but I'm not gonna hold back here. But if you look at the reflection on that rear window, it's just a fixed image. It isn't a dynamic reflection that changes all the time, but based on the circuit you're at, it is a fixed image basically that sort of matches the scenery to its best ability. So that will not change based on what bridges you go under or anything like that, or any barriers that you go near. And it's the same on all reflective surfaces of the car. Now on the side of that car, obviously that image will rotate when it's perfectly chrome, which is what gives it the impression that it's all multiple colours when he's going round corners and it's changing what is reflecting on the side of it. See what I mean? So it's going blue and red because that's the colour of the image that we have here at COTA, which makes it look all blue, red and purpley. At other rounds I pointed out that it looked green, and it's as a result of that as well. I think that's quite intriguing, but they've done a really good job with that because rather than do a huge chunk of the car chrome, they've just done a tiny bit of it, so it doesn't give you enough detail in the reflection to show you what it's reflecting back. It's just the colours of it, and that's what gives it this holographic finish. It's like a sticker on CS2, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm having a look at it though, and it does... I don't know if that is...
What you're saying is I'm lying.
I just don't... I'm not saying you're lying, but I don't know, because it looks so consistent across every single track with that same sort of holographic finish. So I think it could be a bit of both. Maybe they've got like some trickery underneath it. Maybe it's painted a certain colour and then chromified.
Yeah,
if
true.
that's even a word. And then it also overlays with the sort of, like you say, the way iRacing handles its reflections. across any metallic surfaces. Marcel Breitenbach, well, always faces backwards but gets it facing the right way pretty sharply. Kevin Daniels has actually now got ahead of Alex Fretwell. This is how he did it, in towards turn 1, long way back,
Deary
hard
me.
on the brakes. That is a send and a half. Next day delivery.
Oh, no.
Oh, not so keen on that one, Kevin. But
Oh,
well,
and Alex tries to get him back as well.
yeah,
You've got a feel for Alex there, I think. I think Kevin expected. No, start again. I think Kevin thought that he'd have cleared him by the exit because he was that far down the inside. Alex tries to give him the room, look, comes off the steering, then turns it in, so he knows he's there. Oh, it does glue them together, but I think Alex has hurt himself by doing that. I don't think he needs to wait that long to back out of it down there. Maybe just showing his discomfort with that manoeuvre, maybe.
Malcolm Coates seems to be in a bit of discomfort there as he's dropping back behind Jason Hodgson, and I think he also dropped back behind Martin Kenyon.
He did as well, yeah. Kenyon got through on the left-hander. Martin going to go for a lunge down the inside here. I've only just understood what Aidan Millward's comment was from earlier about playing the Dutch at their own game. That's very funny. But Malcolm... Oh, right, they swapped places a few times down here, actually. They stayed side by side all the way to the braking zone. Oh, it didn't skip us on very far, did it? Into the braking zone they go. And, yeah, Martin just later down the inside. Nicely done. I think Malcolm tries to leave room, but, yeah, he's just not tucked it in tight enough there, has he? And loses out a bit more as a result. Looking back from Andrew Fairley, we've got quite the queue forming here. Ryan Ottens, Fraser Smith and Yanis Albert. They are seemingly getting closer and closer while Luke Lucchese gets further and further away in front.
Yeah, Andrew Fairley having a great race, though, it has to be said. Up there, flying the flag for ADX Racing Esports is his teammate Carbonari, not present tonight. Shame we don't have both of the ADX Racing Esports cars out there because their liveries are absolutely beautiful.
Oh, they're gorgeous.
Pete Mateo in the Mercedes. I think that has to be, the way it looks on the Mercedes is probably one of my favourite liveries on the entire grid.
Yeah, definitely.
Is a real feast for the eyes, but again, it doesn't look too bad either on the Ford Mustang. Further back we've got, well, another Mustang, this one battling it out with, that is Dean Powell battling out with the Gilles Philipparts in the Corvette. Dean Powell ahead, but now Gilles Philippart fading to the inside line. It's going to be late enough on the brakes, get the move made. He's going to get through onto the apex as they're going to try and find a switchback. Not sure if there's enough of a run out of the corner. And no, he's not able to seal that position. So Gilles Philippart's ahead of Dean Powell for now. Sean Breitenbach at the head of this train of cars. Ross Pugh, we can see just at the back, searching for an away pass, but again through this sector, it's really difficult just to find any sort of way through because it is basically just a single line bit of track, isn't it?
Yeah, this is another one of those corners where you can all take multiple lines around here, but at the end of the day they all get you to the same apex and the same exit of the corner, so it's just a bit of artistry trying to make your way around there in a different line. Great battle though, all 6 of these elite drivers together. We ride on board with Thomas Pugh. Just ahead is Paul Cowlishaw, then Chris Versteinen, then Dean Powell, Gilles Philipparts and Jean Breitenbach at the front in the Porsche. But we do go back to Andrew Fairley though in second place. He's going to get a bit hot under the collar right now, isn't he? Because if Ottens tries to have a go or starts to get held up, you've got to think that Fraser Smith will take an opportunity here. Fraser's been relatively under the radar compared to his usual self, but I think that's just because he knows at this stage of the championship especially, he doesn't have to be chasing as many points as he has done before. He's ahead of Yanis Albert and Tristan Dinabrega, who are 2nd and 3rd in the championship, so even though he's not winning this race, he's still going to be extending his championship lead over his 2 nearest rivals, so what's to moan at?
No, exactly, but obviously Fraser Smith, he wants to be on the podium at every opportunity he can get, so he wants those race victories as well. But he's just biding his time, I think. He had dropped back a little bit earlier on in the race, around about the midway phase. I think between himself and Ryan Ottens was over a second, but now he's come right back down, as I think Andrew Fairley is now driving a lot more defensively, it has to be said, as we get into these closing stages of the race. And of course, why not? You've got less time to worry about defending, so you might as well start defending a little bit harder, as you realise that I think the race victory is just one step too far with Luke Lucchese, around about 1.8, 1.7 seconds up the road. Also, actually, Yanis Albert has gotten himself into the mix. He's just around about 9/10 of a second behind as we come to Will Soper, with Robert Bakker and Danny Lee all tussling together. What's Danny Lee and Kevin Daniels? So there was no, actually no, it was Dean Powell. Sorry,
Yes.
Philippats. It was the Danny Lee Racing and DDK cars tussling, which got me a little bit confusing. But look at this side by side up ahead. Robert Bakker just got his nose in front of Will Soper.
Oh,
And then he's going to try and
Danny.
take all of them at once. I think he backs out of that one smartly, but instead tries to frighten the life out of them and see if he can get any scraps. Doesn't seem to be the case though. Robert Bakker now second in this three-way fight as Will Soper makes the move, and that was a really nice move by Will. That was very similar to the ones we see his teammate pull off, Fraser Smith.
Yeah, definitely really good stuff that by Will Soper. And hats off, Robert Bakker was really lobbing it back down the inside. He was having a good old scrap with him. Daniel Lee tried to take the opportunistic route. Didn't work out, but you know what? Again, fair play to him as well, because he had the respect for his other competitors there to back out of that one. Marcel Breitenbach, I'm afraid, is having a drama here. Again, same corner. He's going to drop it on the brakes. It's just going to over-rotate. Seems like it's a nightmare corner for these cars, is that part of the circuit. And just as that's happened, Gilles Philippats has had a problem in his Corvette. Let me guess, it's going around a long corner and it's on the brakes. Yep. It's that Corvette. It's an oversteery little piggy, isn't it? Oh! Nearly.
That was a scary moment, not just for us in the comms box, but for everyone that was trying to find a way through. Thankfully, no contact was made, and the next 3 minutes should hopefully go without incident. Robert Bakker nearly getting into the back of Will Soper. This battle, while it's been, at least the first round has been won by Will Soper, Robert Bakker, he is not hearing no bell. He's really going to be going for it, but being mindful, of course, that Danny Lee right there with him. 2 V8s. Almost, I think they're going to be having to scrap now, as Will Soper in this light sector has really had a great charge, hasn't he? He has built up enough of a gap that he should be well and truly safe in towards turn 1. Further up in front into turn 1 though, well, this is not safe for Andrew Fairley. He's got Ryan Ottens and Fraser Smith and Yanis Albert now chasing him down.
And he's not going to be happy about this either, because they are still going to go for one more lap after this. The timer will tick over just after they next cross the line. So they're going to have an extra lap in this race. And he's got an extra, well, however many kilometres this place has had it up before. I don't know where it's gone. But it's a really long lap here, so he's got a long old time to defend. As Cowlishaw looks down the inside of Dean Powell, Dean says no, politely. As Thomas Pugh behind them wants to try and find his way around these guys. Paul Cowlishaw, a stalwart of this series really. Used to be a front runner in the Lamborghini, now he's got one of them chasing him. Now he's switched over to the Acura NSX. Look at that Lambo looking very menacing just behind there of Thomas Pugh. Robert Bakker still in a fight with Daniel Lee as well. Danny now looks to the inside, has a big old lunge, tries to scare Robert into going deep. He has gone deep, but I don't think Danny's got enough of a run on the exit to do anything with it. Back up towards the front of the order though. This is the fight for second place. Luke Lucchese, well, he's up here. He's not completely disappeared, has he, Ed? But this has been the Lucchese that we've seen before, that's won championships here before in ESR. He's been so tidy in this race up to now.
Yeah, this is exactly what you need at this stage of the championship. We're just past the halfway mark, so a good charge from now to the end could really be the difference maker, and we've seen him do it before. He's going to have one more lap after this. Well, relatively trouble-free, just needs to keep it on the tarmac while these drivers in behind fight it out. And there's a little bit of a mistake there from Andrew Fairley, but Ryan Ottens has one of his own, just a snap of oversteer on the exit, stops him from really closing that gap down through the final corner. Yanis Albert, again, not quite the exit he was hoping for, but Ryan Ottens, Fraser Smith, both with very nice exits actually out of the final corner. Are we going to see a move up the inside from Ryan? He's having a little look. He's going to be going for it. Are they going to make contact? They do.
No.
And Ryan Ottens is, I thought we're going to be pitched around,
How?
but they keep it going. side by side. Andrew Fairley holding the inside. Ryan Ottens, how did he hold control of the car?
How? What? How did that not spin? How did that not completely spin? That's I've not even got words. Down the inside, late on the brakes. He was a little bit too late. Oh, that's fantastic car control, that is, by Ryan Ottens. Fairley gives him another little nudge on the way back out. I'm not sure I completely agree with that, but he sent a message there. Not sure he even intended to, but it didn't look great. Now Fraser Smith is putting Ryan Ottens under pressure. And is he going to go for it? Well, this is Fraser Smith, of course he is, but he's going to do it in unconventional means. He's going to try and go wide on the way in, get a run on the exit. That is very well choreographed, but I'm not sure if he's got the actual run. No, that Corvette's got some good punch. They're changing up gears at different points, though. There's no gap there, Fraser. There's no gap there, Fraser. Fraser. Okay. This is the bit where Fraser and I disagree sometimes. And he's, I'm sure, going to disagree with some of the other drivers over stuff like that. Ottens tries to cut back down. Fraser's parked it on the exit. He's going to now park it on the apex and look at Yanis Albert behind the pair of them. He wants in on this. Ottens tries to get the cut back yet again. He's got his nose alongside, but the back end of the Corvette sticks out one way then the other. Fraser absolutely parks it. God, he's going to get charged for that if he stays there long enough. Still holding on ahead of Ottens. Wow, this is feisty stuff here. We'll go on board with Yanis Albert, see what he makes of all of this with the Acura. Sorry, not the Acura. He's on board with the Acura. That's the Corvette. And then the Porsche just ahead. But I'm afraid we're going to have to give this a miss for just a corner or two because Luke Lucchese is about to come around the final corner and he is going to take the first win of the night. Luke Lucchese back in winning form in the ESR GT3 Championship. He wins ahead of Andrew Fairley. Fraser Smith nabs a podium at the line, Ed. Very, very well done to him. He'll be really pleased to take that one. We look back, though, at the Pro class because Alex Fretwell, he's going to finally get that McLaren back on top. It's been quite a while.
It has been. It's been really great to see Alex Fretwell now back up 2 winning ways. He's had a rough time of things in the past few rounds, so it's great to have him back up there again. The wet doesn't seem to suit him, but in the dry, he is really at the top of his game. Bobby Trundley backing up what was a brilliant showing last time out at Sebring with another podium. This time not the top step, but the second step for Bobby in Quartermaster Motorsport. Really good charge potentially late on in the season for him. That's Matt Hoyland just rounding out the Pro class podium.
Yeah, he beat Chris Jennings to it in the end, actually.
Yeah, it was actually right at the end. How close was that at the line?
That was the guy that was behind the pair of them as well. The three of them separated in that one by 0.4 of a second by the time they crossed the line. Dinner Brager had a really, really quiet race, didn't he? 6th position. He was ahead of Luke King and Will Soper, but yeah, he was all on his own in that one with Tristan. Nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, that was, well, wonderful, wasn't it? From Luke Lucchese. Tristan Dinner Brager, unfortunately, yeah, like you say, kind of in his own little bubble. But you know what? That's kind of all right, isn't it? You get some solid points. You stay under the radar. Ferrari SA Esports Teams Championship, solid points is all you really need to get. Now, though, we do have a little bit of warm-up, don't we, Chaz, before the second race. So we have a chance to get refreshed, get some water in our throats, and hopefully be fit and ready for the second race.
Absolutely. As Ed has alluded to, we'll just be back in a few minutes' time, everybody. We're going to take a quick break here on Chaz Draycott Media. We'll go over the results of that race, and then we'll look forward to the second race here in the Evolution Sim Racing GT3 Championship. We'll see you in a sec.
And look at Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete. The two of them go flying through the right-hand side, then the left-hand side. Jochen Hahn around the outside, and Lucas Hahn, no father and son, come together on the exit of turn 1.
And the best thing about this is the fact that it's still a 15-minute sprint race. They're not extended the time of the race. It's still just like, it's going to be, 7 laps of Spa-Francorchamps?
We get to the real nitty-gritty of motorsport.
Cranston and Smith are side by side for the title in the very final race of the season. As they go back up the hill towards the Schumacher. Nils Kor clips the back at 10. Simon Povey clips the side of Nils Kor. They go over the hill and Povey's around.
Oh my god, that's going to definitely be the thumbnail when it hit me in the right direction. Thank you so much.
23 cars.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Hello again, everybody. Chaz Draycott and Ed May here for the Evolution Sim Racing GT3 Championship's 7th season here at Circuit of the Americas. This is the 7th race meeting of the season as well. We had quite a lively first race there, Ed, but you know what? Really, really clean stuff between everybody. There was a little bit of contact here and there, but that's just the way that Circuit of the Americas works, doesn't it? With some of these really tight corners, that hairpin in the top right of the track map there causing a few dramas. The first corner as well. It's not one that's easy to battle on without having a little bit of argy-bargy here and there, is it?
Yeah, it is, especially in that final sector where we saw, I think, the most of the action and sort of the argy-bargy, wasn't it? Where it's, again, difficult, it's one line, but it crosses over. If drivers are trying to go around the outside, then it quickly shifts in favour from one to the next, and that's where you can sometimes see a little bit of the bumping and barging. But we have the elite class results up on the screen now, Chaz.
We do indeed. Luke Lucchese took a victory in the first race of the night from Andrew Fairley and Fraser Smith. A great battle between them guys and Ryan Ottens and Yanis Albert. Tristan Dinabrega finishes in 6th place ahead of Luke King and Will Soper, with Robert Backer in 9th and Daniel Lee completing the 10. We then have Kevin Daniels and John Breitenbach ahead of Chris Verstein, and Dean Powell will start from pole position for race 2 for finishing 18th outright and 14th in class. Thomas Pugh was 15th ahead of the likes of Paul Cowlishaw, Gilles Philipparts, Luke Van Gortel and Kaz Brinkhausen did not complete the race. But what about the pro class? Sorry, I was going to say overall then instead of Ed.
There we are, yeah. Alex Fretwell taking a victory there, and a well-deserved one, it has to be said, ahead of Bobby Trundley, with a close finish in behind, wasn't it? Bobby Trundley, Matt Holland, Chris Jennings, all pretty much a nose to tail as they made it to the line. Chris Jennings, the driver that misses out on the podium, unfortunately. Martin Kenyon there, though, in 5th place. Solid points for him. And that's Alexander. Now, let's try and remember this. Dryby.
Oh, nearly.
What was it? Draby.
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 Like
well,
Derby.
one of those three.
In the Midlands. Derby.
I want to say Draby because it's Draby, baby. But anyway, Victor Van Dijst and Malcolm Coates and Marcel Breitenbach, with Jason Hodgson rounding out the top 10 in the pro class. Jack Wyborn there in 11th, 1 lap down. And that is pretty much all she wrote for the finishers. And we're just getting ended with the warm-up. And right now into, well, the pace lap, or half a pace lap, shall we say, for the final race of the evening. We've timed that pretty well, haven't we, Chaz?
Absolutely. Only professionals here. Dean Powell on pole position then in the Mustang, with Chris Versteinen next up and then John Breitenbach. But would you look at that? A 4-way fight for the pro class from the very get-go here. Chris Jennings ahead of Matt Hoyland, Bobby Trundley and Alex Fretwell. Those guys are going to start right near each other on the grid. Kevin Daniels next up ahead of Daniel Lee and Robert Backer, with Will Soper and Luke King alongside one another on row 6. Then it's Tristan Dinabrega. He's going to be hoping for a bit more of a busy race this time, I imagine, ahead of Yanis Albert. Then it's Ryan Ottens and Fraser Smith ahead of Andrew Fairley and Luke Lucchese. The rest of the order are as they finished the first race of the night. 31 cars here on the grid this evening. We have 12 cars in the pro class and 19, I believe, in the elite class. So pretty filled grid still at this point of the season, Ed. We've both seen leagues before where they have massive drop-off later in the championship, but the Evolution Sim Racing GT3 Championship has always got a very friendly and competitive community behind it, and these guys keep turning up week in, week out.
Yeah, they might have their disagreements on track and sometimes disagreements off it as well, but it's sort of
that's competition,
been and done, isn't it? It's part of competition. It's been and done after the next race. They don't tend to hold grudges. It's sort of after one race meeting, they're back to being friends once more until they have to get on track with one another. But it is great to have that sort of competition element always present, and it's why the numbers are always so strong here at Evolution Sim Racing, isn't it, Chaz? I mean, so much so I think that we've been able to have the field, or at least this championship, be so popular it needs to be split over 2 broadcasts. Obviously, the B split being broadcasted on Evolution Sim Racing's own YouTube channel. I'll give that a watch after this one, because the action is still up and coming with this final race. And Dean Powell on pole position.
Yeah, Dean and Chris Versteinen on the front row. 2 Mustangs leading 2 Porsches. And then we've got a Mustang and a Porsche on the third row just to balance it out. 3 of each in the top 6. All drivers from different teams as well. And then the McLaren of Alex Fretwell. Mercedes of Robert Bakker inside the top 10. The first Acuras on the grid are Yanis Albert and Tristan Dina Brega. 9th and 10th in class, 13th and 14th just back there, the black and white machines. So there's a good mix. What are you expecting here then, Ed? Are we expecting Chris Versteinen to go for it from the get-go? He's had a bit of an unlucky season so far, so he needs to prove a bit of a point here, I'm feeling. Same with Dean, actually.
Yeah, both of them have not really had their sort of fair share of good fortune, it's fair to be said. So I'm not entirely certain what we're going to see. But Chris Versteinen, he's going to be really hungry after the disappointment of that first race.
Yep. Here we go then. Second race of the night in the Evolution Sim Racing GT3 Championship from Circuit of the Americas, with Dean Powell at the helm, is underway. And boy, that's a great launch by Dean. He really catches Chris Versteinen out, but Chris moves to the inside line over on the left, and everybody fans out behind, but Dean immediately parks it on the apex, keeps it tidy in there. 3 wide there in the pro class as well. Bobby Trundley is muscled out wide and loses a bunch of positions. They're all swarming around him trying to avoid him. There's contact, and that's Ottens. And is that Fraser Smith with him? Oh, Andrew Fairley's around as well. There's going to be a big old incident here unless they all slow down. You know what? Everybody's done a great job there to not let that be a bigger incident. But Andrew Fairley got spun around. The 112 was in there. I think that's Will Soper. Oh, there was more cars off there, actually. Gilles Philipparts is off the road. Thomas Pugh is having a drama in the Lamborghini. Fraser Smith has lost a place as well to, who's that? Luke King in the Porsche. I think Will Soper and Andrew Fairley were the ones that came together earlier on. Goodness me. Luke King having a right old hip check there with Fraser Smith. Don't think Fraser will be too happy about that. Robert Bakker on the brakes. Oh, sideways. And, well, Fraser sends one up the inside, and you can't blame him.
No, you really can't. As Chris Versteinen now into the lead of the race ahead of Dean Powell. Dean's actually under pressure from the other Mustang. It's a 3-way Mustang fight. All Mustangs. These will do the American fans at home proud, won't they? Seeing the All-American V8s right at the front of the field, locking out the top 3. What a sight, what a sound this is.
Surprised we can fit 3 Mustangs on the circuit. It's brilliant. I don't know how they're all going to get through the hairpin as Powell looks down the inside of Chris Versteinen once again. Danny Lee's on the back of this as well. Fraser Smith has actually gained 6 places from where he started, and Luke Van Gortel has gained 10. Luke Van Gortel's had an absolutely amazing start. I think he's going to have a good view of all of the drama from the opening couple of corners, actually. So let's go on board with Luke Van Gortel, shall we? See what he makes of all of this, because he was right behind some of it. I do want to have a little look as well, actually, from our race 1 winner's perspective of Luke Lucchese. He catches what happens to Andrew Fairley. Oh, Fairley went, well, fairly early to say the least. And you know what? The Corvette had the right idea there to block him. He didn't have to hit the back of him like that. I think there was a bit of disagreement from earlier. Andrew maybe driving a bit beyond what he should have done there. Soper's gone down the inside. There's a bit of contact there. Oh, Fairley's actually already around, and Luke hits him. Wow. I was going to say, because Luke had lost a bunch of places. Oh, he's lost that front bumper, look. Front bumper's gone off Luke Lucchese's car. That was a detail we missed. But yeah, that was a little bit messy, wasn't it? But I don't understand what Fairley was doing there, driving straight into the back of Ryan Ottens.
Yeah, I think only really he knows. It's fair to say, Chaz, isn't it, in that scenario? More battling. We can't focus on incidents that happened in the past, because we've got incidents that could be unfolding here as Yanis Albert up the inside of Robert Bakker. That was a really lovely move. Fraser's looming, and I think he's trying to muscle his way through. Robert Bakker turns in, sees the Porsche on his inside, and quickly backs out of it to not get pitched around into a spin. Fraser Smith now up the position as well, taking advantage of Yanis Albert's earlier hard work. Now, Yanis Racing Mercedes chased down by Will Soper, Luke Van Gorpel.
Luke is flying here on a real mission. He gained 10 places in the opening lap. He's now gained 11 at the expense of Will Soper's Porsche. So he continues on. Fraser Smith has gained 7 places. Yanis Albert has gained 6. Eric Verlet started at the back of the grid as well. He's gained 8 positions so far for Viraco Esports Team Orange. Great stuff by some of these guys. Really, really committed opening sections to the race. We look now at Dean Powell. 2nd place overall for him. 2nd in the elite class, of course. Look at his teammate in the background there, Danny Lee, trying to get past Kevin Daniels. But it's the other Mustang of Matt Hoyland that leads the way in the pro class right now. Alex Fretwell is 7th on the road, just behind these pair. There he is. The pro class is turning out to be quite unpredictable week in, week out, isn't it, Ed?
Yes, well, you can't really predict it, just like the weather. It's possible to determine who's going to come out on top, but this is one heck of a fight, isn't it? These 3 Mustangs right up there, but watch out for Sean Breitenbach, that Barbecue Brad Racing Porsche right up there. Danny Lee now could make it a Ford 1, 2, 3, 4 if he can catch up to the back of Sean Breitenbach, because he's, I think, just gotten ahead of Kevin Daniels, Chaz.
He has indeed. We'll have a look back at that move. Actually, how... Whoa. It seemed like he did it forever ago, but it just gets the run down the start-finish straight nice and tidy out the final corner. And he's just going to outbrake him into the first corner here. Kevin Daniels is in the same class as well, so he's got all means to fight. But Danny puts the car in the right place at the right time there. Nicely done. As, ooh, Hoyland and Dean Powell getting a little bit messy in the hairpin. A little bit messy on the exit as well. You don't need to door bang, boys. Come on. You don't need to do it. Dean doesn't need to be all that way over. Matt doesn't need to try and squeeze him back there either. Matt's just staying where he is now, to be fair to him. Oh, he's just sticking in the middle of the road, following that groove. Oh, a little bit of a touch on the way in. Oh, I don't understand why they continue to turn towards each other, though. Dean's still turning left there. It's not what you want, especially if he's John Breitenbach, because this is surely going to be scary. He now nips up the inside. Great opportunism. That's why you need to be in it to win it with stuff like that. You see these guys making a little bit of a mess. That was a little bit naughty by Jonas. Oh, come on, Dean. He's driving a bit carelessly there. It's almost like he has to prove a point. We've seen drivers do this before. It's like they have to show that they're angry or show that they're not happy with the other driver. The retaliation is the worst thing you can do. It's the bit that paints the worst image of you, as he lets his teammate Danny Lee through. Danny will keep his calm, controlled head on it, I'm sure. But yeah, Dean didn't paint a great picture there, unfortunately, as now Kevin Daniels is under pressure from Yanis Albert, trying to go around the outside at the final corner, and he's made it work in the NSX. That's great stuff by Yanis Albert.
Yeah, he does, but he's going to have to worry potentially about a chasing Porsche, Fraser Smith in behind, because look, Fraser's going to go to the inside, but Yanis Albert is going to go to the inside of the car up ahead.
Oh.
Credit to him, he gets it onto the apex, muscles his way through. It's kind of been the story of the day in turn 1, his drivers muscling their way through, forcing them out wide, side by side now, in towards turn 3.
Oh,
no!
That's Fraser. Fraser's off, and to be honest, again, Fraser's put himself... Oh dear, look in the background.
God.
Yanis got caught out there by, was that Kevin Daniels that hit him? But again, Fraser puts himself in a situation he doesn't need to put himself in. We see it week in, week out. He had the run at first. Oh, there's more dramas. That was Paul Cowlishaw around.
That does not paint a pretty picture that that there's a damaged car involved in an incident. No. If that car's not drivable, it should be going into the pits. We'll see, obviously. We only saw a snapshot of it, so don't want to pass judgment right away. Here we go now. Fraser Smith has got the outside that becomes the inside. To be fair to Fraser Smith, he's going to the corner bit. And there's enough room left over that Fraser doesn't need to go that deep. And I think it's more of a mistake from Fraser than anything, going over the anti-cut.
Yeah, he tries to leave the room. They were both trying to do the right thing. He's back on the circuit. It's a fair enough rejoin, but then instantly at the next corner tries to go down the inside.
Although, again, I'm not sure if he can be the guilty part in that one. He is right alongside, and there was a contact that happened between the two cars outside of him. Maybe they got the call for 3 wide a little bit late.
Yeah.
But from what I saw, it looked like more of a mistake from Fraser Smith, which looked a bit uncharacteristic. He didn't need to be going that tight knowing
No.
that this sausage curb was there, because there was enough space for him to take a slightly wider line and a bit more of a conventional racing line for the inside. But
I think after the contact he just had though with Yanis as well, he wouldn't then trust there to be all of that much room on the outside. So yeah, it was just, there was, as Luke, I don't think Victor Van Zijst knows that Eric Verlet is out there either.
Bobby's involved.
Bobby's through as well down the inside of Eric. Goodness me, this is a crazy second race already. We're less than 9 minutes in. But yeah, it was the then sudden, send back up the inside straight away from Fraser after having such a big accident. You've not had many corners to get used to the car again, of seeing whether it's damaged or anything. It didn't smell of good decisions, unfortunately, all of that. But
No, it definitely the aroma was not a pleasant one. I think
No.
it's fair to say in the decision department there. Christopher Steinman though, he's just got a nice clear breeze, clear track, clear air to worry about, and also, to be honest, a nice bit of clear air in behind between himself and Matt Hoyland again. Matt Hoyland, he's on track for an amazing result, isn't he, for DXT Solar? Second place overall as Jack Wyborn. Again, these curbs are really starting to prove much more deadly in the second race.
great effort. Great effort that by Jack to get
Wonderful.
that stopped and stop it coming back on the circuit. If we watch that from Fraser Smith's perspective, watch this. At this point you're thinking, right, where is that car going? And Jack does a really good job. Jack does a really solid job there. It might feel awful underneath, but you know what, he's done alright. He's done alright. Luke Van Gortel goes past Chris Jennings to gain his 18th position of the race. Luke Van Gortel having a fantastic run of form in this one. But these are the races that are important, aren't they, Ed? You've got a reverse grid, you've got drivers trying to fight their way through. Sometimes a little bit of impatience here and there is what costs them important championship points in these second races. How many seasons have you and I seen and commentated on where a driver is, quite obviously one of the fastest guys on the circuit, doesn't need to push too hard, but just doesn't display patience in the second race? This isn't, I'm not mentioning just Fraser, but I'm saying about the overall playing the game on an evening like this to get points in both races. How many times have we seen championships lost by drivers that just don't display the patience in race 2?
Yeah, I think what you're referencing as well, isn't it, Chaz? I think a great example is the final race of the Sim Racing Magazine Winter Tour, wasn't it? The GT3 Winter Tour.
Yeah.
Where we saw drivers just, what we're going to spoil exactly what happens if drivers haven't watched it or want to go and
You
have
should
a look
watch
at it. 'Cause
it.
it was an amazing season finale, but it was, again, just down to impatience, wasn't it? More than
Yeah.
anything else. And we've said it time and time again that certain drivers, the only things that can really stop them are, well, the very
Themselves.
same drivers of the car that they're driving.
Yeah.
It is sadly just the case, but you don't really want to be your own worst enemy in a championship fight. You need to be able to bank those consistent points. It's why drivers like Luke Lucchese have done so well in championships past, because they're nice and consistent. They just bank the points. Actually, speaking of Lucchese, he's not really having the best of races, at least in terms of
Bodywork.
his championship, is it? But honestly, with all of the action that's gone on, he wouldn't mind at least scoring some championship points here tonight.
Marcel Breitenbach has unfortunately gone off the road one last time tonight. This Corvette has been unkind to him, to say the least. Is he going to hit the anti-cut? Yes. Oh, and that's going in. Yeah. Into the sort of safer barrier, the foam barrier, but that's still going to do a substantial amount of damage to the front end of the car. Matt Hoyland having to think about defending from Danny Lee here. Danny on a fantastic run in that Mustang. He deserves the look, to be fair, with some of his recent races. He's not had the rub of the green. Same with Matt Hoyland as well. He was saying last time out, that the Mustang isn't easy to get right. When you get the hang of it, it's a missile, but it's trying to wrangle the thing around. Robert Backer and Luke King are close together for position as well. Robert's got no front end on that car, theoretically and physically.
Yeah.
Right now, Luke King, he's just waiting for a chance to get a good run, I think, as it'll be down to something sort of mid-corner speed, won't it?
Yeah, just because the top end of that, well, you can see the Mercedes is just so strong in a straight line. But Luke King is going to go for a nice late lunge up the inside. We know that the Porsche's really good on the brakes, and as well as actually making that move, we did see Luke actually allowing a little bit of space on the outside just in case Robert Backer was there. So that's how you should overtake through turn 1. A nice lesson for some of the other drivers this evening. But touch on what we saw earlier. What is it with these sausage curves in this second race? We're seeing more and more drivers now. I'm not sure if it's fatigue, they're just missing their marks a little bit.
Yeah.
But more and more, we're seeing those mistakes just creep in. And again, it's maybe partly down to the circuit as well. Those corners are sort of one after the other. They're never ending. They're also sort of slightly off cambered at points where it's not the nicest thing to drive. But I'll tell you, he's been having a wonderful drive and will be really enjoying their time out in front is Christopher Steinen. But now he doesn't have Matt Hoyland in behind him. He's got Danny Lee, and Danny has got a certain bit about him, I think it's fair to say, in terms of the pace aspect. We might have to keep an eye on the relative with, well, we've still got over 15 minutes to go in this race.
Yeah,
more
still
than
not even
half.
halfway.
Yeah. Beggars belief, isn't it, how we've still not even hit half race distance as all the action has been unfolding. Thomas Pugh and Fraser Smith are going door to door, wheel to wheel. Fraser Smith, I think that's actually Fraser's trying to hold on, if anything, because he's got a damaged car, and Thomas Pugh's looking to find a way past.
Yeah, Luke Lucchese in the mix as well. Luke's had a few more laps to get used to the damage on his car after his lap 1 dramas. Thomas in the Lamborghini trying to put it down the inside, around the outside. He's trying everywhere, but Fraser's got that car in the perfect spot. Now the gap between the top 2 was 3.5 seconds earlier on. Tristan Dinnebrega and his teammate Yannis Albert, both in the Acuras, out of the race, by the way. Tristan in the chat, and yes, it very much is the Fraser fan club in the Chaz Draycott Media YouTube chat each week. Ben, Grace and Chloe all clearly here to watch him time and time again, and hats off to them. You know, they're very consistent with their support for Fraser week in, week out. And we've seen it before, actually, to be fair, Ed, and I'm not going to mention any of the drivers that we've ever seen this about, but we've sometimes had, let's call them fans, in the YouTube chat that are obviously there to watch certain drivers and so on, and then they're not very nice to people who support other drivers. But these lot, they seem sound. You know, they're not deluded about Fraser either. You know, they play it realistic. Ben in particular in the chat, which is what we like to see, isn't it? They're not just completely deluded and everybody else, you know, that their driver can do no wrong. So, you know, they carry on.
If only F1 fans were this reasonable. If only. Especially F1 Twitter. My God, that place is a cesspit. I'm so glad that it's in the off-season we have. Every time I open my phone, I'm just bombarded with just Verstappen and Norris and Hamilton and all of these.
I've got a bite.
No.
I've got a bite, everyone.
They're all just screaming at each other. Nah, this is sort of a lot better. And you see it a lot in more endurance style racing as well. I think if you're out of sort of, I guess, I am going to say the Drive to Survive fan base, it's wonderful. It's really wonderful. And sure, Drive to Survive, it did some wonderful things for obviously accessibility and the motorsport, introducing more eyes to it. Formula One and motorsport in general has been the biggest it's ever been because of it. But at the same time, honestly, some people need to have their internet access revoked. At least for weekends when Formula One's on.
Yeah, for sure. So Luke Lucchese still battling his way through. Tristan Dinnebrega saying that the championship's over. How many times have we heard that from drivers? We've heard that a lot. Ed and I love that one. We love that one. That's our favourite. Keep it coming, Tristan. Fraser at the moment, though, 10th in class. Still 3 places gained from where he started as well, actually, to be honest. So he's still having an improvement on his starting position. I always say that's a good day at the office. The car in front of him is Alexander Draby, LS Racing. Oh, I've done it now. It's Draby, isn't it? I was saying earlier. God's sake.
Draby.
Alex, what's your name? Tell us. Let us know. Get in touch. Complaints at chazdraycott.com. Danny Lee. Currently, no, he's United's goalkeeper, isn't he?
That's right, yeah.
Danny Lee, second at the moment, but the gap at the front is still 3.5 seconds. He certainly showed that he had the pace to get past Matt Hoyland and overtake him. Matt stuck with him, and then Chris is now still the same distance away that he was over 3 minutes ago. So, yeah, I don't know. Now, Ben in the YouTube chat has... oh, okay, never mind. Oh, he's raised a good point here. He said he's fast in the sim and fast in real life. I didn't understand whether he meant that Fraser had done some real racing IRL, as Tristan has just asked, because I thought I'd seen that he'd done... Oh, no. I thought that I'd seen somewhere that he'd done something, but I don't know if it was just track days or not. So I don't know. As Victor Van Zyst tries to lob it back up the inside of Bobby. Great reactions from him, and great reactions from Eric Verlet there behind. That was really close, tough stuff that. Fair play to him. Fair play.
Wonderful. They managed to keep themselves, well, at least somewhat out of trouble, fair to say. Now we've got some more action here, and it's Fraser Smith yet again battling with Thomas Pugh. Thomas trying to find a way up the inside. He's going to go for it. Careful not to go in. I thought for a minute we were going to see the Lamborghini and the Mercedes make contact, but this is great. Thompson and turning, cutbacks of glory everywhere you look. Alexander, well, he's going to go home and try, but he's, oh, please don't squeeze him like that. That's not necessary, Thomas. He's going to have maybe the inside line. No, I think Fraser has just been able to get himself ahead, but once more, this is not comfortable for Fraser in any sort of imaginable sense of the word. Luke Lucchese is right there as well. The two battered Porsches, pretty much identically beaten up. As Dean Powell's into the pits.
Someone's forgotten to tell him it's not an endurance round. Oh, there's drama further back. Jack Wyborn. Whoa! Paul Calishaw and Jason Hodgson. They're all doing a barrier inspection together by the look of it. There's Andrew Fairley going through. What on earth has happened here? I loved that a minute ago. That made me laugh. That when you please don't squeeze him like that. It's like when your friend comes over and picks up your dog.
Please don't do this.
Don't do
He's
that.
Sensitive.
Please.
He's delicate.
Oh, well, would you? Oh!
No,
I'm surprised the Mustang
that's-
can get that high off the ground. Eric Verlet opens a new space program.
It's like a field goal, isn't it? I know we're in America, but you don't need to be practicing ready for the Super Bowl just yet.
Heads.
It's good.
It's good.
Oh,
I hope you've got your arms in the air as well, because so have I.
yep.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I mean, not fantastic for Eric Verlet. That's a big shame, because he was on a really good run through the order earlier, actually. In all seriousness, he will not be happy about that one. But, well, it happens. And to be fair, it's a pretty much blind corner around there, isn't it? Who was it that hit him? Was it Paul Cowlishaw? I think it was Paul Cowlishaw. Let's have a look. Paul ends up on the left, doesn't he? Because these guys go off in front. Oh, hey, Eds! Oh, God. Look at the... It's like a car park. That's a pretty dramatic accident, that. I'm not going to lie. That's a pretty dramatic one. But you can see just further up the road, Eric Verlet gets slightly sideways, gets just a tap from the Corvette, and the C's part. And Cowlishaw, yeah, sends it. There's one more angle I want to see. I'm so sorry, everyone, but we are going to do this. We're going to look at this angle. Doesn't need any explanation, you'll see. Beautiful shot of the Mustang there taken to space. Sorry, we're not trying to take the mick out of Eric, it's just these things don't happen often, so we like to get a good few views on it. Chris Versteinen leads the way in the Mustang. Daniel Lee is second in the Mustang. Matt Hoyland is third in the Mustang, first in class. And then it's a Corvette of Ryan Otton's. It is really an American takeover tonight, isn't it, Ed? Flipping heck.
Yeah, it's been just action everywhere. Just had my internet cut in and out for a brief moment, so this is slightly concerning, but hopefully it's going to hold firm till the end. Matt Hoyland, Chris Versteinen and Danny Lee again making it a Ford 1, 2, 3. What a turnout that would be for the books, at least on their home race at the Circuit of the Americas. Probably the most iconic American automobile manufacturer, the very first American automobile manufacturer as well, taking all three positions on the overall podium. Matt Hoyland, obviously in the Pro class, getting on the overall podium as well is going to be a really amazing performance from him. Let's not forget about that. He's in a different class, well, literally, I suppose, isn't it, to the likes of Chris Versteinen and Danny Lee. He's still matching them.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's not changed massively, has it? It's really, really not changed at the front. Although, no, Chris Versteinen, 2.2 now. It was literally three and a half a second or so ago, but yeah, 0.6 of a second by Danny Lee on that previous rotation. Thomas Pugh and Fraser Smith are still trying to kill each other. There's no other words for it at this point. They are literally just at the end of this race. I think they'll just carry on when the checkered flag waves. They'll just keep going. But now Luke Lucchese is on the prowl as well. Thanks very much, Tristan Dinabrega, by the way, saying the stream is entertaining as ever. We really appreciate you, Tristan. Sorry to hear that your internet decided that your race was over earlier on. Hope to see you out in the next one, mate. But thanks again for the support of the stream. He's got his teammate here, Luke Lucchese, with half a Porsche 911 GT3, still trying to push on. Shows you the pace of these guys, though, doesn't it, Ed? That Luke, even with that much damage, can be as quick as Thomas Pugh around here in that Lamborghini. Then again, Thomas's Lamborghini's not factory new either, is it? It's not a low float, as we'd say.
Definitely not.
Yeah, you didn't know I knew about CS, did you?
Oh,
there it is.
Chaz, don't make me get back into that game now. I've sunk too much time into it. Don't make me go back, please. I'm not ready. Thomas Pugh, he was ready for the assault up the inside to keep Luke Lucchese at bay. Nearly once more getting into the back of Alexander Drabi. So you got it right that time.
Yes.
Fraser Smith, or hopefully right that time. Will Soper, Fraser Smith, Conehead Racing there as well. Trying to chase down one, actually, Fraser Smith. He's got Will Soper about nearly 5 seconds clear, so I don't think that's going to be a battle that will materialise before the end of the race. But at least in terms of the Pro Championship as well, it has been a pretty good evening, isn't it, for Alexander? He's just had a really solid evening, up 11 places overall in this first race to really make up, I think, for the disappointment in the earlier race. Now he's going to see if that can carry forward for the rest of the season.
Look at Luke Van Gortel as well. 19 places gained in this race for Luke. He's having a really solid comeback here. Sixth place in class at the moment, ahead of Robert Bakker in the Mercedes. Again, he's got a car with a lot of damage on it, and he's making it work throughout this lap. Matt Hoyland will be buzzing here, though. He is currently first place in his class, third overall as well, and he is rounding out the trio of Mustangs on the podium. Like you've rightly mentioned, though, Ed, Ryan Ottens is on for a good night, isn't he? With that great battle that he had earlier on, he's going to get a class podium too, so that'll still go towards his season tally of podiums, which is great news.
Yeah, every time we go following a Corvette, or even particularly Ryan Ottens actually, through that second to last corner, it always has that horrible little snap right on the exit that you worry is going to evolve into a massive accident, but he seems to have it under control. He's probably just gotten used to it.
Yeah, it's muscle memory now.
Now, though, something I want to draw your attention to, Chaz, is the gap between first and second. It has come right down now to under that 2-second bracket, and Danny Lee, if he's able to close a little bit more in this first sector, should be getting a bit more slipstream. And then we're going to see that gap really come down in the closing stages. Do we have, I think, how many laps will we have left actually when we get to the line?
2.
I don't think it's going to be the white flag this time, guys, so it should be this lap and then 2 more.
I think maybe this lap and then 1 more. I think it's just going to miss out. We'll have to see. We'll see. We'll try and calculate it as they get to the line. But yeah, Danny Lee, well, if he can take a victory here and close in and overtake Chris Versteinen, what a week he's had. The pretty good news of getting 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, and then the even better accomplishment of winning a race in the Evolution Sim Racing GT3 Championship. I know he's put a lot more time into one than the other, and he's got this Mustang working well. But still, he's got Hoyland. And you know what? Fair play to Matt Hoyland, because he has not disappeared here, has he? He's fighting amongst the elite drivers. He's third overall. He's got 3 seconds back to Ryan Ottens. I mean, even if Ryan Ottens overtakes him, he can be so pleased with this performance tonight, can Matt?
He really can be. Also, though, credit to Chris Versteinen, he's had a wonderful time out in front as well. Viraco Esports Team Orange. I mean, we're usually quite familiar, aren't we, Chaz, with the Viraco team?
Yeah.
Here on Chaz Drake Cup Media from our time with the Sim Racers World crew.
We will have 2 laps.
Great to see him back up there, and it will be this lap and
2 more.
The end of this lap, and now 2 more. So
yeah,
it was going to be close at the line, but
yeah, sorry, 1 more after this.
Last lap. Yeah, so 1 more now after this lap. But credit to Chris, the gap didn't really come down at all. So he's been able to get a nice shift on, and Danny Lee wasn't able to make any inroads. As this is Alexander Drabi.
Oh no!
Oh, he just has to stay still and watch the whole world go by. Has a great view of when the gaps are forming, though, so knows that he can get up and running as Luke Lucchese as he hit an incident limit and got a drive through.
Must have done with that contact that we just saw there. That has unfortunately hindered his race even further as Jean Breitenbach and Luke King. How many times have we seen these two battling together on the Chaz Draycott Media YouTube channel? A big shout out once again to Kamei, GP2 Group and Keenan Eco Energy, the sponsors of this championship. They said sponsors then, and they went full Sean Connery on it. But these guys have always been wonderful supporters of not just the championship, but us as well, what we do here at Chaz Draycott Media. And Viraco wants something to celebrate, says Yelmer F1. Now, we're used to seeing the older colour scheme, aren't we? The Flemish SimSport colours that were Flemish by Viraco, I think it used to be. They had this gorgeous matte black with gold and red on it. I'm not so much of a fan of the orange livery, but it's still very tasty indeed with the Viraco branding on it. The Viraco logo itself is very lovely to look at. I think it's a similar font to what we use on the numbers for our cars, actually. If you look in the bottom left of the screen where it says 113, I think it's a similar font to that, actually. Still, Chris Verstainen is going to have one lap left, and he's got a second and a half over Danny Lee right now. Danny wants to cap off an incredible 7 days with a race victory, not just in class, but outright as well. Matt Hoyland will be getting a class victory by the look of it. He's a good few places ahead of Chris Jennings, who's running very under the radar in second place. But right now, it's Luke and Luke, spelt in two different ways. King and Van Gortel right together. Luke King wanting to get 4th place in class. Sorry, no, it's not Luke and Luke, is it? That's Jean Breitenbach. Christ, who employed me?
There we go. That's the beauty of being self-employed, Chaz. It's yourself. It's wonderful, isn't it? Luke King, Jean Breitenbach battling away. Again, we've got a great South African contingent, don't we? Third to 4th. Luke King, oh dear, is he going to make it? He's going to overshoot massively and there's contact and oh dear, is that Sean Breitenbach damaged? Or is he going to let Sean
he's giving it back.
He's giving it back.
He's giving it back.
Wonderful
That's lovely.
stuff.
But he's also giving it to Luke Van Gortel. Does he know he's... Oh, no, Luke.
Oh, dear.
Oh, and then Luke Van Gortel. I mean... No, we're not playing stewarding. We're not doing the stewarding.
Too late in the evening for us to do that anymore.
It's not our job, but I don't think Luke King knew he was there.
Better.
Simple as that. Chris Verstainen, though, halfway around the lap now. He's at the top end of the straight. He's got to boot it, because that thing there that's blocking out the sun behind him is Danny Lee's Mustang and then Matt Hoyland's Mustang, which is ironic, really, considering it's DXT Solar. Then they've got Ryan Ottens behind. Ryan's having a fantastic run, 11 places gained in this race. Just listen to this thing. I mean, we love this car, don't we, Ed? It's an absolute treat. But it's great to have 3 of them in the top 3 in the race. It'll be a Mustang lockout at Circuit of the Americas. Can you believe that?
Absolutely amazing stuff. I thought that when we saw it as a top 3 lockout, it wasn't going to last until the end, but amazingly, it has done. Obviously, with different drivers up there now. It was Dean Powell up there, but one Danny Lee Racing car has been swapped for the other. Is now Danny Lee himself is up in second place, chasing down Chris.
Just a couple of corners left to go now for Verstainen. He rounds the final corner, and Yelmer said that he wanted something to celebrate at Viraco. How about that? Chris Verstainen wins at Circuit of the Americas. Very well done to him, and well done to Danny Lee for second place. Matt Hoyland takes a class victory and 3rd outright here at Circuit of the Americas in race 2. Ryan Ottens gets himself a podium as well. What a feel-good race that was in the end. Chris Jennings is going to come home in second place here, though, Ed. More big points for him in the championship. He's done very well this season.
Really strong performance from Chris Jennings and could take a big step forward in his championship charge. Bobby Trundley stamps on the power. Quartermass Motorsport to make it yet another podium. He's in the past, I think, 3 races. It will now be a 1st, a 2nd and a 3rd. So Bobby's really a driver on a charge to watch in that Pro Class Championship.
Matt Hoyland was just doing some donuts there at the top of the circuit. We'll cut back and watch this, hopefully, before the replay kicks us out. But this is just as the checkered flag comes out here. Matt round the final few corners, taking it nice and easy. He knows he's got the class victory in the bag here. I think it's the first time we've seen Matt take a win in class this season, from what I can remember.
boots it out the final corner, weaves across the line. Look how much that means to him. He'll be absolutely buzzing. He said the first race was busy. He had to work hard for that one. But that was excellent. Excellent. And now we'll see the celebrations as well. He slows it down. There's a lot of runoff up there at the top. And there you go. Nicely done, Matt. You deserve it. Fair play. Big donuts from the Mustang. Great stuff. Absolutely great stuff. Let's have a look at some results then, shall we, Ed? We'll go over the results of the elite class first, shall we? Chris Verstappen takes the race victory with Daniel Lee in second position, Ryan Ottens in third, and then Jean Breitenbach in fourth. Then it's Robert Bakker in fifth, ahead of Luke King and Will Soper, Luke Van Gortel and Fraser Smith ahead of Thomas Pugh. Gilles Philippart's 11th, ahead of Andrew Fairley and Kevin Daniels in 13th. Luke Lucchese was 14th after that drive-through. Paul Cowlishaw in 15th. Dean Powell was 3 laps down. Yannis Albert did not finish, neither did Tristan Dinnebrega and Kaz Brinkhausen. Quite the night to forget for him in the Mustang. But Ed, take it away with the Pro Class.
Thank you very much, Chaz. And I will do just that. As Matt Hoyland, he took it away from everybody. There was no one in this class that could touch him at all, as he wins by nearly 16 seconds. So Chris Jennings, wonderful job by Matt there to get on the overall podium as well. That is a really impressive result. Chris Jennings there in second place, ahead of Bobby Trundley, getting yet another podium. He's going to be a driver to keep an eye on for the remainder of this season. Victor Van Zeist there in fourth, and of Alexander Drabi. Really, in a lot of the action that we saw tonight was Alexander coming through with a strong fifth position, just ahead of Malcolm Coates in sixth. Alex Fretwell, after his race victory in race 1, can only muster a 7th place. I think he was caught up, wasn't he, Chaz, in the earlier action, and had to fight his way back up through. Although still a great result, nevertheless, some important championship points. Martin Kenyon there in 8th, ahead of Jason Hodgson and Eric Valet, rounding out the top 10. Jack Wyborn joining him 6 laps down. Marcel Breitenbach 10 laps down. I don't believe will be scoring points, will be classed as a non-finisher.
Yeah, indeed. If the drivers finish so far off the leaders, then they do not get championship points, unfortunately. But now it's, well, one of my absolute favourite parts of the night, where we get to have a chat with some drivers. And where is he? Where is he? There is he. Chris Verstappen wins at Circuit of the Americas. Chris, welcome to the commentary box. You must be very, very pleased with that one. It looked like Danny was mounting a charge at the end, but you got away with it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, the first race was not that great, but the second race was, fine. Led almost every lap, so that was great. But indeed, Danny came quite close. He had some better pace in the end.
I was going to say, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I bet you were watching the rear view mirror there in the later stages of that one, surely.
Yeah, and I'm lucky that we didn't have to drive many more laps, because then for sure it would have been very close, or at least a fight.
I was going to say, it would have been an interesting fight though, being in the same machinery. There was a lot of Mustangs at the front tonight, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think in the second race the Mustangs went quite well. First race, I don't know.
Well, it was a circuit that seemed to suit them round here tonight, but what was it particularly that suited the Mustangs, do you think? Was it the straight lines? Because it's not the best in corners, is it?
No, I don't know. I don't know whether this car really suits this track, to be honest. I think the reversed grid helped a lot for the Fords, particularly in my case. And yeah, the tires, they were still okay-ish in the end, so maybe that helped a little bit, although the Ford is normally not that famous for the tire management.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it doesn't like having rear tires on it, does it? It prefers to run on the rims by the way it goes.
Yeah, but overall happy with the result.
I was going to say, you and the guys at Viraco must be absolutely buzzing with that. Are you going to celebrate tonight with the team?
For sure. Yeah, I will take a beer from the fridge.
Well, we hope you enjoy it, Chris. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before you go?
Jelme van der Meer in the other split. I think he did a good job.
Fantastic stuff. Well, great to speak to you, Chris. Well done on the race win, mate, and we'll hopefully speak to you again soon.
Okay, thank
Cheers.
you. See you later.
Enjoy the beer.
Bye. Thanks.
Well, there we go. Chris Versteinen. He takes the victory in that second race of the night, and we'll move. Oh, hello. We've got the wrong one. Quickly say hello, Rob, and we'll throw you back.
Hello.
There.
Goodbye.
Bye, Rob. We just went into. I went to pick up Matt Hoyland, and then there was a quick change in the interview waiting room, and suddenly we got Rob Mackay. But somehow, unfortunately, we still got to speak to Matt. Matt, you must be over the moon with that, because what a class win that was on an overall podium.
Yeah, finally. I've been trying so hard this season. I finally. I don't know if it was just a Mustang thing today, but they seem to all be going really well. Like, to have the front three be Mustangs overall is crazy as well. Like, to get an overall podium to win the class by a decent margin. I can't ask for any more. I just wish I'd got a better qualifying and been able to get sort of fight for that win in race one. But yeah, just really good. Can't complain at all.
And what was it like trying to wrangle this thing around there tonight? Because we all know weight transfer isn't this thing's strong point, and that first sector is all about weight transfer.
Do you know what? I loved it through Sector 1. I think its biggest weakness was Sector 3, but I spent quite a lot of time following Alex and Bobby in race 1, and as well as I'm going to forget his name, Chris Jennings. And obviously so you got two Porsche and a McLaren, and it was absolutely all over him. The change of direction was immense. I don't know if that's down to setup or what, but I loved it. And then I got to Sector 3, and it went back to its usual cruise liner mode and didn't want to turn in. But yeah, the car was absolutely spot on.
Well, it certainly looked like it, and to get 3 Mustangs on the podium is mega. So lovely to see you as a part of that. You must be confident now going into the last couple of meetings of the season.
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping I can carry it on. Obviously, last week was arguably my strongest result of the season. Granted, that sort of fell into that P2, but today, to get it on merit and pure pace, I'm hoping I can sort of carry some confidence going forwards now. Obviously, confidence is huge to your performance as well. And I've also been talking to Danny, and we both decided that we're not practicing anymore because neither of us practiced before tonight, and it turned out great. I've practiced for loads this season, and it's gone wrong. But from now on, I'm just turning up and driving, and that's it.
There is such a thing as over-prepared, is there?
I think there really is, yeah.
You know what, Matt? I always love interviewing you because it's the most northern interview we ever have, because best result at season is just the most northern thing I think we're going to hear in the box tonight. Is there anyone you want to give a quick shout out to before you go?
Yeah, just shout out at dates to you guys as usual. Obviously, I know we're sort of only half strength tonight with Francois not being here, but I know Martin didn't have the greatest of nights, obviously, but we had some good results in the other split as well. And obviously, shout out to you guys as usual. I haven't said that so far this season. I'm really looking forward to watching this one back.
Well, it's great to have you in the box as always, Matt, and hopefully we'll speak to you again soon, mate. Have a good one.
Thank you, guys. Catch you later.
And we'll very quickly move on, shall we, Ed, to... Who else is in there? Oh, actually, we have Monsieur Fretwell in the commentary box with us for tonight. Mr. Fretwell, you must be pleased with how that McLaren went round here tonight. Some solid points in at least the first one, but the second one was a little bit more of a bruising affair, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's probably best I don't spend too much time talking about race 2 because I'll get in trouble with the boss man. Race 1, yeah, perfect. Obviously, I think I was on class pole. Was just sort of seeing whereabouts I was on fuel for the first few laps, and obviously not wanting to take too much out of the tyres. 50 degrees track temp is pretty insane.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looked like it was melting the cars from underneath very, very quickly.
Yeah. And then obviously the sort of 3 other top Premier guys were right behind me, so it started race 2, all of us in a row.
Yeah.
I think the only ones in the top 18. So it was obviously going to be a tight race with us. Managed to jump Bobby and Chris off the line, and then Matt got one of the elite cars between us, and obviously I'd seen how strong the Mustang was holding on, so just sort of sat in P2 and would have been quite happy with that, to be honest. But yeah. Spent the first 3 laps diving out of the way. I know the corners invite you here with these stupid wide apexes, but it doesn't mean you have to use it.
Yeah, no, it's understandable.
And then get nailed under a yellow flag, which...
Yeah. Understandably frustrated, Alex, and I totally get that. Ed and I have seen a few bits tonight. Eventually, we just started shouting that we weren't going to be stewards in the end, because it's very easy when you're watching it to start putting your steward's hat on. But, it's...
I've got to go and put that on, I'm sure.
I'll bet. But still, it's been great to see you still wrangling this McLaren around, mate, and doing it justice, because it's lovely to still see it out there. And for the rest of the season, obviously, we wish you the best of luck. But for now, is there anyone you'd like to give a quick thanks to?
Just my teammates who keep picking up points in the other split. Quite a few seem to be going missing for me at the minute, so yeah.
Bless you. Well, lovely to speak to you as always, Alex. Chin up for next time.
Yeah, you too. And hopefully next time I'm in a better mood.
Absolutely. Well, we still appreciate you coming in to speak to us, even if you're not, mate. So thank you very much.
Yeah, Sam. Cheers, guys.
See you later. Well, I like that, I like it when we get to speak to drivers when they've not had the perfect night and they still, they remain composed enough to come up and have a chat with us. It makes a difference, and it shows you sort of how big a people they are, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And I think, at least for me, with Alex, at least he had that positive start to the night that made the end not feel so bad.
Yeah.
I think at least he had something to take away from the whole evening. But it is great to have a perspective from a driver that maybe the entire race evening didn't quite go his way, and to get that, because most of the time when we have drivers in, they've had a great night. Well, like this man here, Chaz.
Not just a great night, but a great week. Obviously, congratulations, Danny, on 100,000 YouTube subscribers, mate. It was lovely to see the news during the week. And congratulations on a good night here at Circuit of the Americas. You must have quite the smile on your face.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks very much for the well wishes over that. It's been a lovely few years. Just plugging away, putting each brick in the wall as we go along, and then before you know it, you're kind of there. So happy about that, and this is a really good cherry on top. Lovely race. I'm basically just checking in with you guys to mark myself as safe from disaster, because the last 3 weeks have been nothing but. So thank goodness this one has been a really good one to sort of rub the ointment on it and wash away the bad races that came before it.
I was going to say, it certainly cemented that it was just a phase of bad luck potentially, and you've come away and 3 Mustangs in the top 3 as well. I bet you were sort of rubbing your eyes just to make sure you were seeing real things there, weren't you, at the end?
My eyes were locked squarely on Chris's relative. Any little crumb of encouragement that I'm eating away at the lead is like, it's like some form of adrenaline. It just makes you go faster and faster and faster. What I would have given to just have 5-10 more minutes, we would have had an excellent battle, but sometimes it just ain't to be. He pulled out a decent gap at the start, got around Dean, ran away with it, and I just have to take solace in thinking what could have been if there was more time in it, but we'll have more races to settle back.
Absolutely, and obviously looking forward to the rest of the season now. You're feeling confident with the final few rounds?
Yeah, I think everybody will be welcoming the fact that they're kind of what we would call standard tracks that don't have too much quirk to them, something that we can sort of the tracks that facilitate familiar kind of racing. So hopefully we'll all feel a bit more comfortable in our own skin. Circuit of the Americas has some really horrible landmines that mean you can't blink for a second.
Yeah.
I can't remember whether it's Mugello or Imola that's next, but either way, just going to be glad to put some normality back into it and get into the rhythm.
Well, I can confirm to you it is Imola next up, then Mugello, then Bathurst. So a few lovely Italian circuits. Like you say, standard circuits, definitely the way to describe it. But we look forward to the end of the season. And before we let you go tonight, Danny, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Just thanks to yourselves for the broadcast. You do a great job. The league admins for doing also a really, really good job in putting this thing together, giving us somewhere to race, and to the rest of the drivers on the grid for consistently offering you the very best of what you can get through sim racing. So thank you to everybody.
Well, thank you, Danny. Congratulations again on 100k, and we'll hopefully speak to you again soon. Have a good evening.
Cheers. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Cheers. Danny Lee, 100,000 subscribers. It almost makes me angry, like how good he is with words, like putting bricks in the wall and all that. Like how
Has he got a book of metaphors like ready? As a content creator myself, it's so frustrating to know how much better he is. But you know what? He deserves it so much, man. So much. As you've all heard many a time, he's such a lovely bloke, and he's had a great run of it tonight as well. So hats off to him. Hats off. But what a night we've had at Kota, eh, Ed? Flipping heck.
Yeah, he's Danny Lee's. You can call him sort of more of a modern day Shakespeare, can't you? And it was poetry in motion in that second race, at the very least, to come through with that second race. Not quite enough for the end product, but still, he's something that he's going to be, like we heard, very chuffed with to finally have a nice, clean race. And fingers crossed for him that it's going to be a sign of things to come from now until the end.
Fingers crossed indeed. A great night here at Circuit of the Americas in the Evolution Sim Racing GT3 Championship. Thanks once again to Kame, GP2 Group and Keenan Eco Energy for their sponsorship of the championship. Class wins tonight from Luke Lucchese and Chris Versteinen, Alex Fretwell and Matt Hoyland in the Pro class as well. Thanks once again, Ed. Thanks everybody for being a part of the championship. Thanks all of you for watching, and we'll see you in a week's time when we head to Imola. Have a good one.
And look at Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete. The two of them go flying through the right-hand side, then the left-hand side. Jochen Hahn around the outside, and Lucas Hahn, no father and son, come together on the exit of turn 1.
And the best thing about this is the fact that it's still a 15-minute sprint race. They've not extended the time of the race. It's still just like, it's going to be, 7 laps of Spa-Francorchamps?
Yeah. We get to the real nitty-gritty of motorsport. Cranstone and Smith are side by side for the title in the very final race of the season. As they go back up the hill towards Schumacher. Nils Kor clips the back at 10. Simon Povey clips the side of Nils Kor. They go over the hill and Povey's around.
Oh my god, that's going to definitely be the thumbnail, isn't it? Hit me in the right direction. Thank you so much.
23 cars.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.